Okay, this one's gonna be a big one. So this is for the bathroom. So you can see I'm doing this by hand using a chisel because that vinyl is glued on. And this was not good for my palms. This gave me calluses actually doing this. I'm trying the heat gun right now. Well, I was, but that didn't do anything. So back with the chisel and destroying my palms using some Stanley knives, Stanley blades, and removing the door stopper because that door stopper helped me protect that mirror, which I cracked. That's on the wall, but I didn't crack it with the door. I actually cracked it from the other side when I was mounting my monitors, and I drilled too deep through one side into the mirror. But the mirror is glued on very nicely, and you know what, I'm not even bothering to remove the mirror because it still looks fine. I mean, a bit of wear and tear, in my opinion, that's a bit fine, and I'm trying to be okay with imperfections, so I'm just going to leave it at that with the mirror. But talking about the vinyl, let's keep removing it, and finally going to sort out this side panel of the bathtub because it hasn't had a bottom panel since the day I bought it, so I'm going to have to design one, but let's come back to that in a bit. Keep removing that vinyl, and I can finally fit in this last piece of the SPC LVT flooring in here. I'm gonna have to use the same technique with the sliding in method rather than clicking it in place as a complete row because I can't do that. So here I'm gonna have to slide it under. So I'm gonna have to, well, which I already did, I already clipped one of the edges off. I'm going to use a bit of super glue just to fix it all in place. Get nice and sticky. And I'm going to sand it slightly down and have the dust or this sawdust fill in the blanks. And same here, I couldn't lift this either, so I'm going to have to cut off the whole side and just slide it in. Super glue method. I know that looks quite extreme, but once it's done you won't be able to see that there is an actual seam there at all. And I'm just sanding the top layer, which is the clear coat, so you won't be able to notice it's there anymore after it's done. And I can get to finally laying the actual tiles here. So I'm not actually removing the whole of the vinyl that's under the bath, because the bathtub is fixed in place, and oh my god, that would just be a nightmare just to redo it completely. And as I said, I'm not going to be OCD obsessive about things like that, so I'm just letting it be. Besides, once the panel is finished, it's going to be fixed in place, and you won't know that there's no flooring. Well, there will be flooring underneath the bathtub, but it won't be the hardwood, not the hardwood, the SPC LVT flooring. So it'll be the vinyl that's hidden under it, which I'm fine with. But yeah, although this is starting to look pretty quick, trust me, it's going to get really, really slow with the, what's it called, the siliconing, because I done this bathroom justice. Like, I started it good with the tiles, the mirrors, the bathtub, like what, 10-15 years ago. But now I'm going to go the extra mile redoing all the plumbing. I'm gonna redo the silicone. I'm gonna do the bathroom panel, the bathtub panel. I'm gonna do it nice. And finally merging where the threshold was. And that looks great now. This is like the most longest task ever. I'm actually just using a chisel and a hammer because I'll get calluses in my hand if I just continue doing that. Back to more removal. And I'm onto the hammer now because my palm is dead by this point. So yeah, this took me quite a while. I kept on switching between projects, I think, as far as I remember, because my hand was just driving me crazy. And I was thinking, oh my god, do I have to do this for the whole of the kitchen too? Because although we're not on the kitchen, this is what I would have had to have done if I didn't buy the hammer drill attachment, which I'm very happy I did, because although I'm doing this by hand here for the kitchen, I was just like, oh my god, I can't do that. So yeah, I done for the whole bathroom. I done this method using the chisel and the hammer, and sometimes by hand. And you can see here, look at the plumbing here. That just looked like a right mess. So there was 2 sewage pipes here. Not 2 sewage pipes, there was a main sewage pipe, and it split off from the main pipe to an offset. When I actually moved in, the toilet was more in the center of the room, which was really bad design. So you will see when I reveal both the pipes where it initially was. But I moved it to being close to the wall to give more space, and it just looked much cleaner. But when I was doing the piping, I didn't have a big knowledge of how to make good seals and how to join pipes. And now I'm struggling with actually removing the screw, because the thread on that screw was gone. So this took me a while to get the screw off. And look at that mess. Ugh. Now you see the cistern there? It has a massive crack. And in the end, I decided to replace that cistern, which I decided to actually. Oh yeah, so I went with a enclosed cistern, but the enclosure for it, I decided to design it myself, which is a bit of over the top job. Not over the top, it just took me a while how to do the angles. You'll see that later, but you can see here the sewage pipe has been split into 2, and that is the one I covered. But for this time I decided to remove it and redo it nice, because it was just a right mess. I want to do it really nice. Alright, so a little background on what the hell's going on here. So originally, when I moved in here 15 years ago, when this place wasn't mine, I was refurbishing this place with the permission from the landlord, knowing that this place isn't mine. So I was investing my time, money, resources, etc. on a place that isn't even mine. But the way I saw it was, like previously, the places that I lived, I was never really in a happy home, and I wanted to make this home a home, basically. So we wanted to be comfortable, me and my mum, before my mum moved out to her boyfriend. So originally the toilet, this was a different toilet back then, was connected to this hole, and I covered it up with wood and then glue and then vinyl on top, and that wasn't very good, was it? So I bought this and I added holes into it, but it was leaking, and back then I didn't have much knowledge on filling, closing gaps, so I used loads of hot glue, which, as you can see, I peeled off. Well, when I did it before, when I was peeling it off, it was just hot glue. So yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean this whole area up, remove the vinyl, clean up the whole area, and hopefully level it out more. Gonna shut this one up tightly as previously, but neater. Gonna close that hole up as well, of course, and preferably I would like to move the toilet back even a bit further, like by 4 centimeters, just to give a bit more excess space in the toilet, because the toilet is pretty small. But I'm not sure if we'll be able to do that, because that concrete looks, tight. I don't think that's gonna move, which isn't a big deal. It actually makes less work if I'm gonna if I'm not going to have to relocate holes, because if I do, that means that the new shelf that I made here, which mimics this kind of design, would have to get redesigned. So I don't really want to do that. One thing that I do want to do though is, you see this hole, that is supposed to be ventilation for the sewage, in terms of, so like an airflow. So before, that was going up to the ceiling, like there was a pipe here going to there, to the ceiling. As you can see, I covered that area up. So yeah, it was a massive pipe going to the roof, and I was just letting it air out into the room, but that was obviously supposed to go outside. Now there is a pipe in there that goes right outside. You see that white one? So that is a spare pipe that is going to outside, and I wonder if I could get in there somehow. I'm not sure if I will be able to get in there, but if I can, I could connect that as a small ventilation. So instead of being able to smell the sewage, it would go outside. That would be great. Alright, let's finalize the removal of this vinyl because it's so annoying. And removing the actual sewage pipes because it's in the way. The waste pipes, I'm going to replace them later on. But just give me a bit of space and cleaning the place up before I actually resolve the main holes and close the central hole that's in the center of the room off. And cleaning this hole that's next to the sewage pipe. And you see those wooden blocks? That's what holds the whole bathtub up. It's a little bit, I'm quite surprised that it moved quite a bit. I think that's because I removed the blocks that are holding the bath up. Well, wait a minute, that actually would cause the opposite effect. But those wooden blocks have been there for 15 years and it's been zero problems. So the bathtub is a very solid connection. It's got side supports as well, drilled in the back and on one side of it. And I thought I'd sand down the whole concrete here as well, just a little bit, just to make sure it's nice and clean. Because what I'm gonna do is, once I filled that hole up, I'm going to JB weld the whole area just to make sure it's super flat, and to make sure that all these fillings that I'm putting in are solid in place and there's no gaps or anything like that. But it was a bit of a trick to get a cutout of where the sewage pipe actually is. So what I've done is I marked a piece of paper with masking tape and I measured it around, and I used a bit of force on the paper to get the outline of it, if that makes sense. So although I'm going a bit of an overkill with JB Weld, I still wanted to use JB Weld because this is like quite a important area, sewage, like you don't want anything going wrong, so I want it here to be rigid. So usually you would wait 24 hours for this to cure, but I honestly can't be, for two things, I can't be bothered and I want to use the toilet. I don't want to rely on my neighbor for toilet. So what I'm going to do is I'm applying masking tape so that I could put in the next set of tiles, planks, flooring on top without the tile bonding to the JB Weld, and this way JB Weld will still cure, and this should even out as well, so it's nice and even. So yeah, that is the reason why I'm putting masking tape on, and that is the reason why I'm using JB Weld, because I want it secure. I ain't gonna use like filler or plaster, all plaster, you know. This is quite an important area that needs to be sealed tight so that the sewage smell doesn't come out. Then we can resume with the flooring finally and finish this freaking bathroom. But we're gonna need to silicone the walls, the sides, the corners. Nice clean hole.
Hello there.
And there is a bit of gaps there, but I'm gonna seal it. But before I do that, let's just finish laying down these tiles. Just got a bit of excess that I thought I'd use up. Don't like wasting. Even though I bought around 5% extra of these planks, just in case. And I'm using the same method here, using some masking tape and paper just to mark out where the hole was. And you see I just cut it out. And as always, the end plank is the trickiest in getting the right thickness or the right depth for it to slide in place and hold in place. See, back and forth until it's actually fixated. And now I'm actually super gluing that hole and just giving it a quick sand down.